I'd like to call the study session to order along with the Park Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Jim. Mr.
Caleb
Gorman?
Johnson.
Okay. Great.
Present.
Kevin Connolly.
Present.
Robin Arvanitis.
Here.
Rob Getzloff.
Present.
Tom Schmidt.
Here.
Brad Bassick. Here. Ed Repe. Here. Nicole Kelly. Here. Joe Skvarek. Here. Carly Morris. Here. Jim Gorman.
Here.
Andy Hansen. Here. John Novosich. Here. Irene Morales. Here. Chad Nondorf.
Okay, so tonight we're here to go through the concepts of the Speedway, and at this time I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gorman.
Thank you, Mr. Getzloff. Yeah, we received some concept plans with some pricing breakdowns of each concept that they presented at the last study session we had, and we're going to go through those. There's 3 or 4 different ones, and then Andy went ahead and kind of broke those down, and he's going to talk about that. Thank you.
All right, so everybody should have received Illiana Motor Speedway High Intensity Concept Plan. That's the first of the 4 plans that have been provided. I'm going to pull it up here.
Please note that Jen Wilson arrived at 5:32.
So on each 4 of these concept plans, they broke down costs, and they were divided into site prep / demolition, site improvements, site lighting and utilities, landscape improvements, and additional project costs. So I'm going to go through each one of those. This is the high intensity, so this is the most expensive one. I'm just going to go through each line item, and then we'll do that on all 4 of these. And if you have questions, please stop me. So on high intensity, the temporary erosion control is projected to be $900,000. Site prep clearing is $30,000. Utilities is $30,000. Asphalt is $640,000. Concrete and gravel is $1,010,000. Fencing's $10,000, and track concrete wall removals $420,000, and staking and layout is $70,000. So that equals $3,110,000. That's for site prep and demolition. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Andy, what, on the temporary erosion control for $900,000, can you tell us what that, tell the public what that is?
Sure. That is basically just silt fencing that would go up around the perimeter of the property, and then you'd also have to do it around any of the water that's all existing there. So there's some wetlands in there to prevent erosion, so sediment getting into any waterways.
So it's $900,000 for temporary fencing?
It's erosion control, yes. Yeah, installing it and everything. Yeah, they have to trench it in. And that's 60-some acres. Yep. And this whole site prep / demolition is pretty consistent throughout all 4 concept plans, the amounts. And then for site improvements, that totals $36,000. That includes stormwater retention, pavement and curbs, fencing, playground and sports field, which includes a playground, some multi-purpose fields and an ice rink, the site furnishings, which is seating, bike racks, shelters, amenity lighting, and then site structures such as a pavilion, amphitheater, park shelter, maintenance building, rec center, and the US 30 intersection. That totals 36 million. I said 36,000, sorry, it's 36 million. Any questions on that? And the big differences in all four of these concepts with that section of site improvements is the different site structures and playgrounds and sports fields, depending on which concept. And then as far as site lighting and utilities, this is pretty consistent throughout all four concept plans. Site lighting throughout is 1.44 million, and utilities, which is electrical, power, water, sanitary, storm, is 2,840,000. So the two of those equal 4,280,000. So for landscape improvements, since it's a very large area, that totals $4,730,000. So that includes trees, shrubs, perennials, seed, blanket, topsoil, mulch, all of those items. And then, again, this is pretty consistent throughout all four of the concepts. The additional project costs, they have it at $28,870,000. So that's the design and engineering, which is 15% of that cost. General requirements is 8%. Contingency is 25%. And bonds, permitting, inspections, 12% of that. So again, that's a total of $28,870,000. So all of those costs combined equal $76,990,000.
Andy, I got a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
On your site structures, again, when you talk about the amphitheater and the rec center, how does those square footages compare to any of the ones in the nearby towns? Like is the 13,100 square foot amphitheater, is that similar to the size of like Bulldog Park and Crown Point?
I would think this would be substantially larger. What do you say, Joe? Yeah,
It would be larger?
substantially.
And then on the rec center, 23,400 square feet, is that comparable to like the Lincoln Center? No.
I would say that's very similar in size to the town hall, slightly bigger than the town hall, actually.
Twice as big as the community center.
Yeah, twice as big as our existing community center.
So it'd be, John, that would be twice as big as our rec center now?
Yeah, about twice as big. We're currently about 12,500 square feet at the community center. Lincoln Center, for reference, is 90,000 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that concept?
Andy, what's the contingency cost here?
I would just say that's for any unforeseen items.
That's a lot of unforeseen items.
Most things we do a 10%. So on paving, for instance, we usually do a 10% in case you mill out a section of asphalt and there's no base under it, you have to put base under it. But since this is such a large project, 25% is honestly probably pretty
Okay.
accurate.
All right. Thank you.
I got a couple questions as well, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
The Lincoln Center is 90,000 square feet. Does that include the entire Lincoln Center? Because it's got indoor offices and space, meeting rooms and all that sort of stuff, in addition to the gymnasium area?
Now, that would be their whole building with the new addition that they put on a few years back with the gym.
And do we know how much just the gym is? Because I think that was initially what Tom had talked about, was just trying to get a rec center that was just the gym size from the Lincoln Center. Right, Tom?
That is correct. I thought if we were going to build something with the rec center, with the Lincoln Center, when you go into the Lincoln Center, everything basically to the left is all hallways of classrooms and rooms. I feel that you got quite a bit of that accomplished in your rec center that you have down at Sherwood. So I basically was looking more for the gym size, so we could have a walking track, courts, be able to play basketball, pickleball, volleyball, all the different things that they do in the Lincoln Center. And also at the Lincoln Center, I thought was a very unique thing that they have in the gymnasium part is they have one end of it is a stage, which therefore Highland holds a lot of their big events there, which is another possibility of income. And then they also have a small workout area when you come into Lincoln Center, which I think is a good idea also, because once again, that's an income, that's where they get their income. A lot of senior citizens that do work out like to go to a small town type workout area, and they're not really big on going to the big gyms and YMCA's and all that. So that's another source of income that I feel could probably help the Lincoln Center.
Yeah, and we were just breaking down, they broke down what they presented at the earlier study session for what they presented for that, 65-acre parcel. So once the two boards figure out what we want, then we can go back and say, okay, well, we don't need a rec center that big. We can go half the size, which cuts the price in half. So we're just trying to give you the breakdown of what they presented in their master plan from the last study session. And Andy's going to kind of go through, excuse me, Andy's going to go through these 4 concepts, and it's basically the same amenities. The site improvements will have less as he goes through these. So that's kind of what we're giving you, what the breakdown was of what they presented.
Did that answer your question, Mr. Johnson?
I mean, not exactly. What I was looking for is what is the size of the gymnasium at the Lincoln Center, because I think that's what Tom was proposing, so that we can know is what Structure Point proposed larger, smaller, same size?
It's definitely larger. It's definitely larger, and when we figure out what size we want, or we want a similar size of the Lincoln Center, we just take that price, divide it by the square footage, and that's what we'd be left with. This is the Cadillac version. All this pricing that we've given you, I mean, we can't do it. We don't have the money for it.
I think the high-intensity concept is the only concept that includes a rec center, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought the other one did too. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So, I don't know if I go through
And just to summarize, I think I have that square footage. I just don't have it in my stack here.
No
So
worries.
I can give you that, and I can break it down by square footage and tell you what that is.
And I'll be honest, I've never been to the rec center gym in Lincoln Center, so I don't even know. Does it have 2 basketball courts? Does it have 10 basketball courts? I have
think
no
they've
idea.
got 4, Caleb.
It has,
4 full basketball courts?
it has 4 courts that is all interchangeable. Like I've been in there walking in the wintertime on a Saturday and Sunday, and they'll have a basketball game going on, a volleyball game, pickleball, and girls volleyball on 4 different courts. All the courts are interchangeable with portable nets and different things like that.
Yeah, I could tell you pickleball play there is pretty active.
Yeah. And the walking track is what is so cool about, because the walking track walks around all them courts. And you're isolated a little bit, not to be interfering with any of the courts. Yeah.
Is the walking track, is that ground level then?
That's ground level, yeah, when you walk in. And that's why it's always full, because it's
And I think by going through each one of these concepts, you don't necessarily have to pick high intensity or low intensity. You can kind of do a combination. So I'm taking notes so I can kind of give them a clearer picture on what you guys are looking to achieve. That way we can kind of narrow our focus and figure out get the real numbers. These are just high-level drawings and renderings. Anyone else on the high-intensity concept?
one last question, and this might be the only one that it shows on here. On this stage, this one has the pavilion, the tiered seating, and the prefab shelter. Is that, What, the prefab park shelter, is that like a shelter over part of the seating?
I think that's like a shelter like we have in our other parks, right? It's kind of like a pavilion area that people can rent out.
Oh,
Shows
okay.
there's 4, Tom.
So like
Okay,
They're,
every year, like a pavilion every year.
yeah.
That's
okay.
not quite that,
I can,
that level, right? Probably
I can pull up one for you.
think of Foreman, the pavilion at Foreman, right?
Okay,
That's probably what we're talking about.
okay.
So if you look at the projector there, there's a few on here that would be similar. Which one do you think that
The
would?
bottom right there, park shelters. They just covered concrete space where you can
Yeah.
put some picnic tables, that kind of stuff.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, then moving on to the medium intensity concept. I'm not going to read everything verbatim here, but the site prep and demolition is 2.9 million, which is slightly less than the high intensity. The stormwater retention is a little bit less as well. But basically, the site prep demolition is slightly less than the high intensity. The site improvements, it's slightly different. Most of the stormwater retention, pavement and curbs, fencing, that is all pretty consistent. But this one has a playground, some multi-purpose fields, includes the site furnishings, and then it has 3 park shelters, a pavilion, an amphitheater, maintenance building, and then the US 30 intersection. So really, other than the amenities, everything's pretty consistent throughout this one. So this one removed the rec center. Site lighting and utilities was consistent with the other ones. Landscape improvements was actually slightly more. And then the additional project cost is slightly less as well. So again, it's just basically the amenities that lower the cost. So if you remove the rec center, that alone is a substantial savings.
So Andy, in the concept B here, I see where the pavilion for the flex event space and ice rink jumped up to 9,100,000. And in the high intensity, we didn't have that?
It was smaller, Tom. It was a smaller pavilion, and then there was a separate ice
Separate.
rink.
Correct.
So it was 2 separate structures. And they were,
Okay.
I think, smaller because you had the rec center just kind of as the dominant structure in the park.
Right, and like I said, if you guys want to see a smaller rec center and a larger amphitheater or something like that, we can kind of make that work. It's just, this is what they envisioned, and then you guys need to critique it and cater to more what you're looking for.
And do we know how much bigger the amphitheater that's being proposed, this 13,100 square foot, is that twice the size of Bulldog Park's amphitheater? And does it include bathrooms? Does it include changing rooms? What does it include?
We're not sure on that one. We'll have to look in that. I would think it depends on what you do. If you do the rec center, and if it's close to that, you're probably not going to have bathrooms in the amphitheater. Just depends on how you do it.
We might need both, though.
And you may, depending on how big
Yeah,
you want to do
the
it.
rec center will have its own restrooms and locker rooms, I would think. And then we have to build something, a concession/restroom structure, like Reader,
Yeah, its own.
to handle the
The crowds.
the crowds for everything. I mean, the fest, the fireworks, the concerts.
Yeah, I agree, Kevin. It doesn't look like, Andy, it doesn't look like the Rex, if the proposed rec center and the amphitheater area are even that close to each other.
No, but we definitely need a facility.
Okay.
I guess I would assume that's the case, that it's gonna have changing rooms, it's gonna have storage for equipment, it's gonna have space to go to the bathroom, because you know these acts are not gonna be able to, you know, just run to the rec center to change costumes or to do whatever.
Right. And that will get
Yeah,
into,
it's
that'll
just-
get more into the weeds once we decide on what amenities you want to have, because if you're going to do something smaller, you're going to need less bathrooms. If you're going to do something larger in scale, you're going to need more bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's,
That's,
Caleb, if you ever been to Bulldog Park when they have a major event, that's what those rooms, or I shouldn't say rooms, but that one area is for them to use. There's bathrooms in there, there's rooms in there, there's changing rooms there for the people that are operating at the pavilion.
Yeah, I just want to be able to compare apples to apples to some extent. You know, I mean, I love the number 13,100 square feet, but I don't know what that means. I really just, I can't compare it. If it's significantly larger than Bulldog Park, I don't know that we need it. But I guess I'm just wondering, is it 10% greater? Is it include 12 bathrooms for customers? I mean, like, what does it include? Because I don't know what to vote for. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, we can break that down too, comparison to Bulldog Park and Lincoln Center.
well, I think that structure is going to apply to all four concepts.
The amphitheater.
Sure.
Correct, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I just did rough math, and basically the site prep demolition is $3 million on all of these plans. The site lighting and utilities, which doesn't seem to ever not be needed, we're gonna need lighting and we're gonna need utilities, is $4 million. And landscape and improvements, which we're gonna have to make this park look like a park, is $5 million. You add 50% for all these additional costs, which you guys are projecting, we're at $18 million, and we haven't put anything there.
It's more than that. I broke that down. Once I get through all these, I'll show you what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how, I don't know. I love the idea of a great Ileana Park, but I'm not interested in that kind of money.
So Andy and Jim, I mean, looking at the shelter, the pavilion, the band shell, I mean, these are all engineering costs, right? Projected engineering costs. But for each one of these, we're going to go out for bid.
Yeah, but
You know, so the cost could be lower than what was engineered, potentially.
well, I just want to reiterate, I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves here.
All right.
I think the whole purpose of this study session is for you guys to see what they presented. To me, it was a lot, like, bigger and badder than what the town of Schererville needs. You got to we're trying to decide tonight if we can, or no, not make any decisions, but get on the right path to say, yes, we definitely want a rec center, we want an amphitheater, we want a bathroom facility, we want an amphitheater with a bathroom facility, you know, and then downsize that to where we could pay for this stuff. So that's kind of it. It's an over-exaggeration of the sizes of these things and what they presented, what the engineers presented, but it's not necessarily, oh, if we get an amphitheater, we got to pay $33 million for it or whatever it is. No, it's whatever you guys want, whatever you want to see. Do we want to see an amphitheater? Do we want to see a rec center? Do we want to see both? Do we want to see ice skating? Are we going to save a spot for it 10 years down the road when we can pay for one, or 5 years down the road when we can pay for one? So I think the whole purpose is to give a guideline of what they did. They broke down what they presented, which is what they were asked to do. So, yeah.
Okay.
we can agree that the amphitheater is probably too big. We can definitely agree with the rec center is way too big. So we'll find out what, hey, we want to see an amphitheater like Bulldog Park. Okay, boom, we got that one done. We know it needs to be this size with this many seats or seating, plus we need a lawn area, maybe a little bit bigger than what they got for people bringing in their chairs. So that's kind of what we're trying to get accomplished here. Try to ignore the numbers. I know it's hard not to, or it's hard to ignore the numbers, but that's kind of what we're presenting is what their concept plan was and how they broke it down. So some of the amenities that we saw that night, do we like them and we just need to shrink them by half? That's kind of what I see the way this goes tonight. We may not need, if there's a restroom facility by the amphitheater, we may not need restrooms in the amphitheater, but we may need change rooms in it. So that's kind of the things we want to decide. And then, like I said, Andy broke it down to what Kayla was just previously talking about on, with no buildings, this is what we're looking at, based on their numbers, which, in my opinion, they're not overinflated, they're actual numbers for the sizes that they presented, but I don't think we need to go that big, my opinion.
Do you know, is there a range that we can afford and are looking at?
Well, our clerk treasurer couldn't be here tonight. He's out of town at a conference with State Board of Accounts. And he said, we could actually probably bond for about $30 million to start, which would be, a $50 million park bond and just a general obligation bond, the other 15. And that's kind of the max. So we can definitely get something, but this is going to be a phased project. But like I was saying before, we have to get the immediate amenities first. We need parking, we need trails, we need a bathroom facility, probably an amphitheater, because that'll get people there for concerts, for a place to have food trucks, for festivals, a place to put the rides, stuff like that. So that's kind of the way I see it. I don't know if anybody else sees it that way, but that's what I see.
So are we at 31 million even without any structures, site structures?
Andy can answer that. He's got a spreadsheet right in front of him, yeah.
So again,
Those sizes.
if you go with those sizes that were provided, here, I'll just pull it up now. So if you pull it up and basically remove all the amenities and go with the sizing of how everything is laid out in those plans that they provided last study session. So for the high intensity with no landscaping, basically just the site prep demo, stormwater retention, pavement curbs, fencing, site lighting, utilities, the contingency with the design, engineering, permitting, and I did that at 50% of what they estimated for that high intensity. That's $33,716,000. And then if you include landscaping that they had in there, that's 4.7. So that total with landscaping is $38,446,000. That includes no amenities. That includes getting it ready for amenities.
And that's prepping 65 acres.
That's prepping 65 acres for all that. It's a very large area.
And Andy, and the contingency design engineering permitting, $14 million, what's all consisted in that?
Everything that's listed in there, so if you look at it, it's actually double that. I put it at 50%. So what they provided, they had it at $28,870,000. I put it at 50% of that. Again,
That's for stuff that comes
Well, no.
from bad soils.
yeah, that's if you encounter bad soils, you need to get permitting through the Army Corps to do wetland mitigation, the engineering,
That's just the basic.
and these are all estimates, remember that. And again, this is going this is the high-intensity one, so this is the most expensive one.
So Andy, are you saying that it's according to that number, that it's $14 million for engineering, design, and permitting?
And contingencies, yes. So the design and engineering is 15%, which is pretty typical for a project, any type of project. And I'll say again, don't get too mixed up in the numbers, because you need to decide what amenities you want to have, and then you scale it to what is doable and you phase it. That's the only way you're going to be able to do this project. It's too large.
Can I maybe just offer a suggestion? Maybe if each of us go through and say, okay, because I think we're just getting too caught up in the numbers, and the numbers I'm overwhelmed just looking at the numbers. I'm
Yes.
sure anyone watching is overwhelmed. I'm immediately like, great, what's my tax bill going to be? I really think we should talk about the concept themselves and which ones we think we need and which ones we think we don't. And then we can give that to you guys, and you guys can go back to them and say, okay, we've eliminated X, Y, and Z. We really want A, B, and C.
That's exactly what
Come
we're
back to the
looking for.
drawing board with our feedback, and let's move forward for that. Because I guess I'll start since I'm already talking. When I look at the numbers that were presented to us, if we go with the either low intensity option, and we're spending $53 million, and that's all we're getting. When I look at those options, I'm just like, wow, that's it? That's all we get? It's like, I can't believe all of that cost $53 million. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Schererville citizens. I'd be ticked off, honestly. I'd be like, I can't believe we wasted the money on this. Why didn't we do something else with this? Why did we even make it a park if we're going to spend $53 million and only get that? If we're going to spend all this money, it has to be amazing. It has to be good. And yeah, we have to figure out the logistics, got to figure out how we're going to, maintain it going forward, who's going to run it. I understand all that. But if we're going to keep going down this road, it has to, like when the citizens of Schererville walk in, or the citizens of other communities walk into this place, they have to say, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Or in my mind, it's not even worth it. We should just scrap the project and sell the land and move on. And we'll probably net quite a premium selling the land, honestly, just because property values have gone up. So that's my view. So I think if we're going to do it, we got to go with the high intensity option, and we got to start getting creative, and hopefully the Reardons, who aren't here tonight, but hopefully they're able to find us some like really generous donations, so that we can make that happen and do a good job on it. And then we're creative. We're all smart people. We'll find ways to cut and make the necessary sacrifices to get it done. That's my view. I don't know if anyone else wants to say their thoughts, but that's how I feel about it.
Okay. I agree with Brad. And I also am wondering, have you guys thought of at some point combining, instead of having two separate, like the rec centers, just making, if we did the high intensity, doing something else, I don't know, even like selling the other town rec center and just combining it into this new one to like cut costs that way? Has that been discussed at all? Is that an option?
No, we haven't discussed that.
Okay. I guess that's just maybe something, maybe not right away until things are all figured out and settled, I suppose. But, and if we're looking at the size of the towns, if the other towns are doing it, it seems to be working well. Like the Highland Rec Center, if that's usually full, not over full, providing enough services for the town. We have a similar population, I believe, so maybe just look at the scale of things versus eliminate. Crown Point, their Bulldog Park, their population is a little bigger than ours, so maybe our amphitheater doesn't have to be quite as large, or maybe really big would be great, and, you know, put on some really cool things, bring more people into our town. I guess that depends on what Schererville wants and what they want to do, but I would say just look at the scale and the size of the amenities versus like cutting out the amenities. That would be my vote. If
Can
we
I,
need to
can I
save
just add one
costs.
comment? Because something you said, I thought was really important, like, because we have our neighbors have similar amenities. And one thing I do think we should consider is, right now, like, whatever numbers they're seeing, whatever popularity they're seeing, the moment we build ours, we're gonna see less, because now there's more places for people to go, right? My family goes to Lincoln Center quite a bit to do programs. Well, if we have a center here, I'm not going to the Lincoln Center anymore, because why would I drive 25 minutes in traffic through Northwest Indiana when we have a place here? A lot of people are going to be making those choices. So we should expect that we're not going to pull, like, even if we built a Lincoln Center, that we're now dividing the Northwest Indiana population, and so we're just not going to get as much traffic. And neither will they, right? We'll pull from their traffic too. And same with Bulldog and everything else. So it's just
But
a
you
thought.
might, I mean, you might get new people too. I think, I know at one of our meetings, we talked about competing against ourselves with the Y. I think there's a lot of, you know, like my mom, they don't like going to the Y. It's too busy, it's younger people. So I think we might get, you know, people who want a little bit smaller versus that. There's a lot of people that don't do a lot, and maybe that's because it's close. We'll get people coming
Sure.
out. So I think, I mean, I hear you, and I think yes, and I also think you could make it up from somewhere else too.
Great point.
But, oh, and then I did want to say, I know Crown Point, they use porta potties a lot for, like the PTO, they'll put on their school stuff, and if there's over 400 people, they have to get porta potties, and I guess that's for anything they pull in there. Like car shows and stuff, if it's going to be over 400 a crowd, they have to bring in porta potties, and then sometimes they share the porta potty with the event before or after. And if it's less, then they do have the bathroom facilities. So I think that's something to think of too, like we don't have to maybe have everything. But I do like the idea of having the amenities that are here, just maybe at a different scale, and finding other creative solutions.
I guess I want to continue my comments. I think, Annie, I think you kind of, and Jim, you touched on the basic. What I think we need to do is if we're in agreement to have a rec center to a certain, whatever size, to a certain extent, and if we're in an agreement to have an exclusive amphitheater, pavilion, and park, and if we're in agreement of building a multi-purpose field, the layouts, the concepts that we had got back in June had all them laid out. So I think maybe that's where we need, if we're in agreement with that, and we're in agreement with the way the layout is, maybe that's what we need to do, because if you choose the three larger things that you want there, that can be the start of the infrastructure of running water, sewer, streets, curbs, and such. And until we decide that's what we want, I mean, everyone's talked about the pavilion being like right where the racetrack is right now, and that's great. Matter of fact, early on, there was some talk about using the foundation of the racetrack as the foundation of it, but I guess from what I understand from engineering, they're recommending to tear it all out. But anyway, if that's the area that we're gonna have our large amphitheater, pavilion and such, then then we need to say that that's where it's gonna go and work around that. If we think that the rec center needs to be in the southeast corner, which is what they talked about, then we need to decide that. The multi-purpose fields, same thing. That's why I always thought about, I think you're gonna get your biggest crowds at the pavilion when you have your festivals and your concerts and all that. And that's why I really thought it was an important idea to possibly purchase the land that's to the west of there, because I always thought that that would be good parking. Because all the people that are coming to your pavilion, that actually would have access out to the roundabout on what they call Old 77th Avenue there. And that would take some of the parking out of the park area, so you could have more amenities, like Mr. Johnson has stated in the past about having a flower area and sitting area and stuff, and maybe get some of the parking for the main events outside. I mean, that hasn't worked out so far as that private, but that's still out there and such. But I still think that we need to pick out some of the items that we think is important. And my suggestion, my opinion is that we definitely need the pavilion area so we can host our festivals there and our concerts there and all that. I think we need a multi-purpose field, sports field. I think that's important. I think some sort of size of a rec center, which will be a multi-purpose building. I still think that if we got 75 acres of land out there that's going to be mostly recreation, we need an area for our Parks Department to be able to work out of a building somewhere. And that's where the rec center would come in. We would have an office there for the... So if those are the items that everyone, or what we like to see, I think that's what we should talk about and go from there. Because if you decide where those places are going to go, then the engineers can get working on how we're going to run water, sewer, roads, curbs, such. That's my opinion.
And I don't think we even really need to decide where it needs to go. I think we just need to know what are your top amenities you guys want to see, and what scale do you want to see? Because obviously, if you look at the high intensity, that has pretty much everything I think you all, for the most part, agreed on. But it's $76 million. So if you want to see all those, do you want us just to scale that down substantially, or do you want to see something different?
I'm sorry, if I may. On the medium intensity concept, my eye keeps going back to the pavilion with the flex event space, that it's 26,000 square feet in addition to the amphitheater. That seems like that's such a great, ginormous space that we could use for so many things. So I don't know if I know we're looking at the high intensity, and this is expensive, but I think that much space, if it's flexible and we could use it for other things, we may want to kind of look at possibility of that. Because if you look at the amphitheater and the pavilion, first of all, it's like 18,000 square feet, and this, with an amphitheater on the second one, is like 40,000. If I'm reading it right, I don't know what the flex event space is. Is it the big green space? So maybe we need to think about using that with the amphitheater too. I mean, I picture like Ravinia, where, everybody could sit on that green space and we could even bring more people in. So on the first one, your pavilion's 3,500 square feet. On the second one, it says pavilion 26,000. Flex event space. I don't know what that entails. I don't remember seeing, but I'm guessing it's bigger.
So I think that pavilion would be similar to like how Bulldog Park is. That's their
Under there.
pavilion under that.
As opposed to a big grassy area that we could really
Correct.
put
You could-
things on.
You
So
could use
I
that
mean,
for anything.
I think maybe that's something to look at with the high-intensity one, to possibly have a flex event space, because you could put so much more there. I don't know, just a thought, looking at,
And that's why I said, don't don't be confined to these four concepts. You can kind of
Kinda
blend
pick.
them together and say you don't want to do, so say you'd go with a medium intensity and you don't want to do the pavilion where 26,000 square feet. Well, we can cut that down to 10,000 square feet, whatever makes sense.
One quick question. You know, at least in the high intensity concept, you have a rec center. We have a rec center and a maintenance building. Would it save us money if we had the maintenance building in the rec center? So we're not laying two foundations, having parking in two separate places.
Well, and if you're reducing the rec center size, as most of you have said, you can merge that with the maintenance building, so, you know, just cut out the maintenance
Yeah.
building. Think
Yeah.
of it that way,
I mean, if that saves us $1 million, that's,
for sure.
and probably more, because there's probably a lot of engineering that's not built into that,
Correct.
right? To me, it would make sense to just have the one structure, and that would save us quite a bit.
Most maintenance buildings, though, correct me, they're just garages, right? That's what we
Yeah,
have over
it's
there
just like a
now?
pole barn, basically. And you could do that on the back side of it.
Right, that
Not
was my
dress it up
thought,
as
like,
much.
so it's not an eyesore, right? But you just have an area, right?
I mean, is that what we're intending for the rec center anyways, is just kind of a giant pole barn? I mean, it's just a big gym, right? I mean, I've been in the Dome down in Crown Point, it's just a big inflatable, I don't know, giant building. There's nothing
again,
there.
Depending on what do you want it to look like, will depend on how much
They-
it costs.
They had concept, the concept they put together was like really nice, like probably overly nice for what we needed. We could probably scale down. I don't know if you can pull it up, but I remember looking at the pictures and being like, yeah.
I mean, if we're just truly looking at just gymnasium, there doesn't have to be anything super special.
Yeah, I mean, you're
The
looking
rec
at that, that's
center,
way more than
Yeah,
just
the
gymnasium.
meeting rooms
Yeah.
and this kind of stuff, you gotta have more furnishings and
Right.
finishes to it, but I would think a gym is just a gym. I mean, it really
So, I
doesn't
mean,
take too much.
looking at this high-intensity concept, it captures everything everybody wanted.
Yeah,
All of us, the residents, this captures everything. So I say we start with this. It doesn't mean we have to stick with the square footage of every amenity that's listed here. We could scale down, we can pick and choose. But my opinion is, we start with this. In terms of the rec center, you know, I don't get in the weeds here, but, I mean, you get into, there's a cost to build it, and there's a cost to operate it.
Right.
So we gotta figure that out, you know, down the road. Do we get, you know, a contribution for this project, a sustainable contribution? That would be pretty sweet, if we can get something like that. But I think right now that we start with this high-intensity concept. We know the infrastructure costs are gonna be what they are, with whatever concept we choose. But we gotta aim high, but I think we could be smart about this as we look at each amenity to reduce the overall cost of the project.
So can I interrupt you for a second?
Of course.
So if I go through these site structures, can you give me a rough idea what you guys would be okay with? So like a pavilion, it's 3,500 square feet, it's $1.4 million. Is that too small of a pavilion, too large of a pavilion?
Well, that was another question I was going to have is, and I know this came from our engineer firm that we hired. What is recommended by the professionals if you're going to have a,
They always wanna build bigger.
Well, right. Well, and
They always wanna build bigger.
but what is the recommended size if you're going to have concerts there or big events there? What is the recommended size?
I guess, do you like the size of Crown Point? Do you like the size of Valpo? If you're okay with that, do you want to go similar in size to that? Do you want to go larger or smaller?
Is Valpo the same size as Crown Point approximately?
I think it's a little smaller.
I'd say they're
Little
similar,
smaller.
but
Yeah,
Valpo's
but
probably a
it's
little
close.
smaller.
And this is just the open, covered
Yeah.
roofed area,
Yeah.
right?
Where the ice rink is.
Yeah, where the ice
Where
rink
the ice
is.
rink is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's plenty sufficient for us. I don't think we need
Yeah.
anything larger than
So,
that.
so for pavilion, we go similar to Bulldog and Valpo.
Yep.
Where are the pickleball courts going?
Rec center.
Still want to know what,
In the rec center, right?
what the flex event space is. What does that mean that it's going to
You-
double?
You could use that for, if you had a farmer's market, if you have a car show, just like Crown Point does. That can be used for flexing of any event. If you have movies in the park, you could do it under there, especially if it rained, you'd have kind of a contingency plan there, because right now,
Andy,
They only
They get
have that in
canceled.
the, I think, in
can
the
you
second
pull it
one.
up on the medium? Didn't they have a
Yeah.
rendition of it
Yeah,
or
they have one
whatever,
on
whatever
it.
the
Let's
word
look-
is?
Yeah.
Because I think it's only on the medium one at all. It's costly.
tell me when it is.
Yeah, it's $9 million, right?
It must be very flexible. I'm just wondering if you can
Isn't
put some
there,
other things in there.
isn't there already a playground at Rorman?
Yes.
Yeah, but it would be really far away.
Yeah.
I think this is right here. It's too far for me to see, so hopefully you guys can.
So,
look at it.
so it's all under
Oh,
roof.
it's indoor. Under.
It's basically a
Shelter.
pole barn without sides.
Yeah,
Simplified.
that's huge. That's a huge
Big.
space, 26,000 square feet.
Maybe a
That's
little
bigger than
smaller.
the town hall.
Can I just ask, how does everybody feel about Sorry. Thanks, Jim. So on the high-intensity concept, we have the amphitheater. So Bulldog Park is more similar to the pavilion band shell combo, right?
Correct.
Do we really want the amphitheater, or do we want more of the covered pavilion with the band shell set up?
That's the flex space, right?
Yeah.
I keep bringing it up, yeah.
Just a thought.
And if you merge those, you'd probably save some money as well.
If we have a grassy area like a Ravinia field, that'd be pretty cool.
And it'd probably definitely save on cost as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went there, and the only reason I bring that up, I couldn't believe the amount of people they packed in there. And I think we would have more room than them. It was really nice. People
Well-
loved it.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
Ravinia, though, that's a stage with a pavilion,
There was a pavilion,
Yes.
and then the whole grass area.
and then the grassy area all
Every
around
inch
it.
Was
Yeah.
covered, yes. So we could
But
have
it,
had-
but it has tiered seating
It
first.
does.
It did have the.
Yep.
the
It
Yeah.
does,
seating
and then
first.
the huge, just grassy,
Like the
foresty area.
first 30 rows is tiered, 30 rows are tiered seating, then it
Blankets.
goes into the grass.
Speakers installed on the trees and.
And the people in the grass don't even see the stage. They just
No,
hear it.
No, you
Yeah,
don't, you
there's
don't
no-
care.
Yep.
Yeah.
Irene looked up what Bulldog Park is. It's 20,000 square feet.
What is?
Pavilion, the pavilion.
Pavilion.
The pavilion's 20,000?
Correct.
All right, well,
Well, that's probably why they said 26 for this one. Then.
yeah.
So the one in the high intensity is only 3,500.
Yeah.
That's like a little teeny tiny guy.
Yes.
But you have an amphitheater.
That's kind of what I was speaking to, Caleb, was
So,
Yeah.
getting rid of the amphitheater and increasing that pavilion and the band shell so that it's more of like a
Flex
Ravinia
use, yeah.
type situation, or, trying to think of the other one, I can't think
and
of.
I think that'd be more useful for the Parks
I
Department.
think so too.
I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you guys agree?
Listen, I love the idea of the amphitheater. I think it would be awesome if we could utilize the track and all of that. But we're talking about being realistic here, and I think that would get a lot of use. And I think it might be a little more cost effective for us.
I agree with that too.
So we'll get rid of the amphitheater completely, or
Well, I mean, I hate to be like a copycat of Bulldog Park, but they kind of combo it. They have a little bit, the stage, and then there's some uncovered seating, and then it kind of leads into the covered. And that seems like a nice
And
compromise.
I don't want to totally copycat Bulldog Park, but look at what they have and how much use.
Yeah.
sorry.
Turn it, I don't know if
Wait,
it's
no,
on.
wait, no,
Might not be on.
But just look at all of the events they have for their community, you know, and it's used over and over and over again. I was just there for a barbecue type thing for work, and it was just an awesome space, and it's so versatile, and it can be used for so many things, and I just think it would.
So are you,
idea.
are you saying
So flex
smaller,
event space.
so smaller amphitheater, larger pavilion, flex space?
They say flex event. I think that title also really makes it, people know that we're using it for so many things.
So Andy, what's the definition of the
Yeah, it could be
amphitheater?
used for so
Right.
many
It's just
things.
basically a stage.
Movies in the park,
It's a stage?
concerts.
I think the amphitheater includes all that built-in seating though, right?
playing some-
Yeah,
Didn't they have 3,500 seats or something?
and the amphitheater, I think that is one of the larger costs, and to me, I think that's gonna be a maintenance nightmare.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be an attraction for teenagers to wreak havoc. I think removing the seating would be a substantial cost savings and
Yeah, I don't think we
maintenance.
need any built-in seating.
I agree.
personally.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
Centennial Park doesn't have it, and
No,
that
no,
space is
no.
great.
They got a
That's
nice
absolutely
space.
fantastic.
Intimate
That's,
space.
that's actually what I had envisioned when we were talking about an amphitheater. I must
Yeah, I
have just
didn't
missed
either.
the seating aspect. I don't think, I
Yeah,
agree
theirs
with
is
you
a
guys.
good size. We could probably go a little bigger than that.
Yeah, we have the space to, for sure.
Yeah.
So John and Irene are looking up some of the other parks. So both Bulldog Park and Valpo are 2.5 acres. And we have 65.
Yeah, let's just develop 2.5 acres then.
Be a lot cheaper.
It's a whole lot easier to police it too, and
Yes.
control it. I think that's the biggest concern that I have with going to Ileana. We plan on having this huge facility. How do we police it? We can't take care of Reeder Park for our fests barely. It's difficult, and we're really struggling with that, and we're gonna go larger? I'm really concerned about it personally.
I think
our
having-
space needs to be defined. Here's our 2 acres or 5 acres that is our event space. And that's it. It can't be 65 acres, that's for sure.
Well, and you can have a lot of open space here just because you have the space to do it. Bulldog Park, they made it work with the space they had.
Right.
And our
And same with
residents
Valpo.
prefer open green space as part of this project.
That was one of the things they said.
There were people
Right.
that wanted
Well, there's
just
not-
green space.
There's
yeah.
not green space at Bulldog Park, right?
No.
I mean,
Very tight.
And almost
very
this,
tight, because
Parking either.
once you leave the wall, you're out on the
Straight
street.
on the street,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I think this,
Basically the
this
square.
event space almost, I don't know if I'm picturing it wrong, could kind of be the hub of where everything starts. The flex space.
So merging kind of the pavilion amphitheater, getting rid of the built-in seating
So,
and making the pavilion larger and the amphitheater smaller based off of the high-intensity concept, what's proposed here. Is that-
so someone that knows about amphitheaters, so is that the part that supplies the stage?
That is the stage.
The stage, yeah.
So are you saying that to have an event place without a stage?
No, we're combining that with pavilion space, that we have just one unit that we're constructing. I think
Flex,
is what's
flex
fun.
event.
And it would be covered to protect the performer, correct? Performers.
What does everyone think, how do you feel about the ice rink? If we were going to do it in there, would we want that in there as well?
26,000 square feet, it's plenty big enough.
If you
Yeah.
go in there?
Yeah.
They have Disney on Ice
It's
there.
all in one spot?
That's actually,
So ice rink under the pavilion,
Yeah, just like the other two towns.
just like the other two towns? I think the only issue with that is the ongoing cost.
Of the ice
Maintenance.
rink?
Cost of the ice rink, you mean? The maintenance cost of the ice rink?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the installation cost was whatever, is only 150,000 or something, right? 160,000?
Yeah, but you need a Zamboni, you need,
I don't see that here
yeah.
at all.
Yeah, I mean, none of the maintenance costs are
Yeah,
included in
they're
any
not
of
included.
this.
Refrigeration.
Personally, I like, and this might not be popular, I know some people really want the ice rink. I think the ice rink is like not necessary I will take my kids there maybe once a year, and I'll try to get out of it when I.
Dyer
do,
got
I
a
don't
portable one they just set up. I don't know what the cost of that is, but it's not crazy amount, I didn't think.
We used to have one of those. It was not good.
Yeah.
You don't get enough use out of it around here anymore. It's not cold enough.
Well.
Yeah, it has to be cooled. And that's a big cost there, the energy consumption. So,
I don't ice skate, so I don't really care.
I'd scrap the ice rink.
scrap the
Yeah,
ice rink.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm cool, I'm totally cool with
It
that.
wouldn't get enough use.
Yeah, I'm fine
Have
with
people
that,
go to
too.
Midwest.
Yeah.
Shepherd, I don't know if they have open skating over there in Hammond. I know they have a hockey arena, but we'll push them that way.
No ice rink. Okay.
Millennium Park.
And isn't it something we can put in later at a different time? I mean, if we decide when we get in and done with phase 1 and 2, and we want an ice rink, we could put an ice rink in, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
would have-
not
yeah.
something,
It
we
wouldn't be
got
under-
space.
It wouldn't be under the cover of the pavilion. You could build another one, I guess, but yeah.
Well, we have some smaller pavilions maybe that are gonna go in various spots. Maybe we use one of those.
Right.
One of them's a little larger or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, and then the park shelters, there's 4 of those. Those are just prefab park shelters. Again, I think that's similar to kind of what we have at all the other parks. I don't see that being a huge issue. I mean, there's only 4 of those. And in the
That-
grand scheme, that's a pretty small amount.
Yeah, that's not a big savings. There was one on the map in the high intensity that was just like,
In the middle of nowhere.
it was in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Yeah, they just need to
Kristen's
be
gonna put
located
people
in
out there
logical
that she doesn't
spots.
like or that are rude to her when they call. That one we could probably get rid of. We probably don't need 4. There was
So-
one like on the other side of the lake, like you have to walk around the lake to get to it. It was just like, what are we doing? Yeah.
So more strategically placed
At least
park
that one.
shelters.
Yeah, that one I would be fine just eliminating, or if it were moved to another place, then fine, then I don't care.
Okay. Then the maintenance building, we talked about merging that with the rec center. I guess we kind of talk about both of those at the same time. So the rec center, do you want to see what it would cost to get something similar to just the Lincoln Center's gym portion?
Like the field house at the
Just the
Lincoln
field
Center.
house portion?
I'm
Track.
personally not in favor of a rec center. I think we've got too many gyms and things that we're gonna be competing with. I don't know that it's necessary from a parks standpoint. I don't know. I mean, how much traffic do we get at our yoga in the park? How much traffic do we get at any of our programs that are fitness-based? I can't imagine it's terribly high.
My only response to that would be, we just don't have a place where people can exercise indoors in the winter.
Yeah, they can't do it for free anyways, so they'd have to join our
I-
rec center, or they'd have to join the
Yeah.
Y.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm
Like-
not saying you're wrong about that. I'm just saying that they're having to go somewhere to do it.
Yep.
And so, and that's the one, when people find out that I'm on the park board, that's like one of the number one things they complain to me about, is they want a place to go play basketball, or
I get it, but are you gonna
Play
provide
pickleball.
it for free? Otherwise, they're still gonna complain. 'Cause
no.
I still hear about Rorman Park, the softball fields. Why can't we use the fields for free? Why can't we use the fields for free? We
Yeah.
paid for these,
Yeah.
right? If they're paying for this rec center, they're gonna want it for free or they're gonna bitch.
I'm not saying you're wrong about that. I'm way more comfortable dealing with the objection of nothing. Sorry, we spent X number of dollars to build this beautiful facility. We have to be a good steward of it. There are costs associated with it beyond just building it. Therefore, you have to pay. Than saying, go somewhere else if you want to, recreate indoors in the winter.
John, what's,
It is a source of income also.
To
It'll
rentals.
never pay for itself. There's no way.
Well, no.
Mr. Novosich, what is your thoughts on that?
What was he saying?
What are your thoughts?
On the rec
On that
center,
rec
John.
center? Yes.
I look at it from a programming standpoint. How are you going to program that space? How's it going to be used? Are there going to be leagues in there? Is there going to be rented out? Is there going to be open gym? The Brad and Caleb's point, you know, if there was, and Tom having a fitness component to it, usually there's a membership charge with that. So are you going to have a discounted rate for your town citizens and maybe a higher rate for non-residents?
That's what they do in Highland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're competing with a lot of spaces now. You have the Anytime Fitness, you know, you have a lot of different facilities like that. So you have to look at your price point on that. But really, it comes down to programming that space. If you're going to try to be everything, it's kind of difficult. Then you're looking at more of a community-based, like what Brad was saying, place to play games, and maybe something that's not going to be into the tournament sector. So what we're seeing now is a lot of facilities being built to attract tournaments, adding on volleyball courts for indoor volleyball or basketball. So we're getting a lot of saturation of that. So the trend with rec centers are looking at more towards community wellness and how you can make these things more inclusive for, I think Jen kind of mentioned something about wellness and places where maybe seniors want to go or people aren't comfortable going to a more of a high-intensity gym, or where they want to just be able to go to their community place and walk or go do, classes and that. And we've tried with the fitness. It's kind of hard. You got to get the right instructors, to program it. And, I think if it's more community-based, then it's going to be a little bit better than if you're trying to capture a certain market like the volleyball market or the basketball tournaments, because then you got to go all in with a larger facility. And 23,000 square feet is not that big of a field house for those type of activities.
Okay.
Answer your question, Rob? I didn't answer it.
It does. No, it does. Thank you very much.
I look at it from the programming standpoint. You could build this. Who's going to run these activities? How's it going to be programmed? And that's really the back end of the department and the staff and the operations. So
Absolutely.
that's got to be considered.
Thanks, John.
If I could, two things I want to circle back to. I don't remember where we left off with the playground or we ended, but that playground that's on here, we specifically discussed it being an inclusive, special needs playground, not just your run-of-the-mill playground. We don't really have anything like that in the town, and so that was discussed that this playground would be geared towards that. I would love to see that stay. And then the ice rink, I just want to point out, because I'm pro ice rink, that when we did the survey, both internal and external amongst our residents, that was one of the top things that they did want. And that's all. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I think some of the decisions, because I'm pro ice rink, I'm pro rec center. I think maybe some of these chopping block decisions we can make after we get more of a final budget, like if we get some good donations or stuff like that. I hate to say no right now.
Anyone else?
Can we talk to our engineers about revisiting the rec center idea, combining it with the maintenance building, coming up with just a field house type estimate, something that gives us a sense of not what they're looking at in their, pie in the sky rec center costs and idea, and give us an idea what it is, because maybe it is much more feasible than we're thinking economically to build a rec center if we're not trying to make it the Taj Mahal of rec centers. And we're just trying to build a field house with some basic amenities, a walking path and these things, and a maintenance building combined, and maybe we're looking at, 20 million versus 10 million or something.
And that's what I was going to suggest, because right now they have it as a 23,400 square foot indoor courts and track, and it's $14 million. Yeah, it's
That's
six,
only indoor courts and track?
that's all it says.
I mean, if you look at the,
there's
if you look at the
probably more
pictures
into
of it, it's more than that. There's classrooms and activity rooms and things like that.
But it looks like-
It looks like it belongs on a college campus. It's probably more
I also,
aegis than we need in our community, but I don't know what that black thing is. What is that, solar roof? I don't know what that is, but.
It looks like just a drive-through.
we also had a thought that had come through the system in the last few months, that maybe on that rec center would be the place that we could bring in the Veterans Memorial that we have started over at the Safety Village, because the Safety Village Veterans Memorial is actually too small. So that would be a designation spot for many people coming into our park if we had a large room or a large area of the rec center designated as a Veterans Memorial.
I'm sorry, Tom, I don't want to correct you. You mean a Veterans Museum?
I mean, a
and
Veterans
And
Museum.
memorial, okay.
I'm sorry, not memorial.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Council Lady Robin. Yeah, the Veterans Museum could be like moved into a certain part of the rec center to give more space, and that'd bring the veterans in there. That would be a destination place, and there would also be a place for them to work at the rec center. And when I say work, I'm talking, like Caleb said, like walking track and maybe a small workout area that veterans do. So that's something to think about also.
So for the rec center, if I say gym-only section of the Lincoln Center and combine it with the maintenance building, not the Taj Mahal, and just scale it down, is that a fair
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
summary of what
Yeah,
everybody's
just to get a rough estimate for what we would be
Okay.
looking at cost-wise.
Okay.
And Tom, you'd like to, with possibility of room or an area set aside
Yeah, I think
for the
it would
Veterans
be good.
Museum?
Yeah.
Andy, back to the maintenance building, I mean, what, is that different than what we have at Warman right now?
No, the way they had proposed it, it's going to be in the way, so just be basically relocating it. I think it'd be slightly larger, wasn't it larger, or slightly smaller, I thought? But when that building was built, we didn't have the community center either. So
Right.
John and everybody was based out of there. So now it's just the maintenance building. So I think you could probably scale it down slightly. I mean, you still need a decent amount of room to store all the equipment and everything. And you might end up needing more just because of the scale of this area. It's 65 acres. Just to maintain that, you're going to have at least one or two people there just to maintain the grounds.
Yeah, my opinion would be that maintenance building, whatever size you decide, my opinion would still be for it to be sitting by itself, separate, and not connected to any other buildings, because of the fact you're using it strictly for maintenance.
So you want me to not have it connected to it? I thought that's what we just said.
I wouldn't.
Let's just get two prices on it.
Caleb, is that what you-
Connected, not connected.
Is that what you said also, Caleb, was the?
No, I said if there's a cost savings, then we should evaluate it being attached to the
Oh,
rec
okay.
center. That way, we're trying to be economical about it. If we can save $500,000, then I'm all for it.
Okay. So I'll give
As
two
long as
options.
it's safe.
Yeah.
As long as we're not going to burn down the building and we're not going to endanger our citizens coming there by having gasoline and whatever there, as long as that's safe and we have the proper precautions in place, then let's save some money.
Okay, yeah, I can have them price it both ways and see
Yeah.
what their cost savings is either way then.
If separate is no different, then let's build it separate so it's safe.
And then the US 30 intersection, that's pretty much the same. I think I skipped over the like the fencing, I think that number, me and John both agree, that number is very low. I think that number is
Yeah.
gonna be
Like 5 times
5
that.
or 10 times
Yeah,
that.
Oh, we spent $100,000 on Reader,
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
That's
do we
what I'm
spend on
saying.
that one?
yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
only half of the park.
I think
We
that,
already had half the park.
I think that number is very low.
Yeah.
Andy, I had another question about on the multi-purpose fields, is that strictly football and soccer, or is this where the thought of having another baseball diamond?
I believe that was no baseball diamond. I think it was like a soccer, football, multi-purpose field like that, because it's gonna be like a rectangle.
Okay, because I had thought that, and I had expressed this opinion early on, last couple months ago. I always thought that we had talked about putting another large field, which would be a little bit bigger than the Babe Ruth field, in the very southwest part of the land, so it'd be lined up with our Schererville Little League. But, and that, once again, that also brings you the possibility of bringing a league team to the town of Schererville also.
I would
It's like-
say that is probably a fairly large cost. I know when we just redid the ball fields down at Rorman, that was, how much was that, John?
That's like $1.2 million, but
And
that
we
was
did-
retrofitting a complex with a lot of in-house.
And we did most of that labor in-house. Chad was out there.
Well, like I see on the sheet here, the multi-purpose fields, I feel that number's probably real low.
I would agree on that as well.
To build, I mean, they're saying only $120,000 to build two fields.
I mean, I think that's pretty generic. I think that's literally just a flat field
Yeah,
that's
just
striped.
land and grass and stripes.
Yeah,
With some drainage,
with some drainage. right.
drainage, grading, and grow some grass.
Because I think, it's just like anything else. You can make it as most cost-effective, or you can make it as grandiose as you wanted to.
I guess I'm relating back to the presentation that Schererville Baseball League asked us to really consider having a field put into this. We have 75 acres that they needed another field. And I don't know if that would consist us renting that field to them or what, but I always thought that we,
There's a field at Rorman they could rent.
4 of them. Yeah.
They don't rent it, barely at all, right? I mean, they do occasionally
We
for
even offered
tournaments.
to let them run the concession stands for us at Rorman, and they didn't.
And they didn't want that either.
They didn't, well, they initially said that they were interested, and then they ghosted us, and we never heard from them
Yeah, they
again
never
on
bid
it,
on
so.
it.
Yeah, I mean, my view on that would be, if they want another field, then let's sell them a part of the land and let them build it, and bring in the money and put it towards the project. Like, I don't feel personally that we need to spend money to build them a big field. And my son plays baseball. That is in no way anything against the program. I just, we've got a lot of those types of fields already.
I tend to agree, Brad.
Yeah. I agree.
So ice rink, back to the ice rink again, are we saying no on the ice rink, or do you want me to get a price on it? And
Not
mean,
at this
it-
time for me.
I don't know, a couple of us are pro ice cream, can we just get
in here.
Top 5, unless I'm missing something.
So I just pulled up the survey results. I was incorrect. It was number 8 on the survey. I think 34% of those surveyed wanted the ice rink, so.
I think
I
botanical,
misspoke. Still pro ice rink.
I think botanical garden ranked higher than the ice rink.
And I think
Yeah,
botanical garden is
totally.
probably a very generic term. I think if you landscape this property nice, I think that's gonna,
To me, that meets it. Yeah, right.
I think
I'm
that,
with you.
that's your botanical garden.
My
'cause
There you
my
go.
thought on the ice rink would be like, we're gonna have a lot of extra space, and that's something I feel like we could easily add that down the road. That's my own personal opinion, but, like, I really hate skating, so I am severely biased.
My thing,
My ankles do not work. I'm just letting you know.
my thing about the ice rink is I'm just trying to think of things for the winter, like winter sports, things that will get people outside, moving, enjoying time together. So that's why I like the ice rink. So
Let's do a sledding hill then.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just
I like
think we
sledding
need
hill, too.
something to do
Just a pile of
outside in
dirt.
the winter.
Just a pile of dirt.
I feel like myself when I'm approached
Grassy
about this, I'm approached about this project, that the ice rink comes up more often than not. And, you know, I'm with my daughter and her friends, teenagers,
Yeah.
and it's just something that they're always.
Phase 3 is a pavilion with pickleball courts under it all summer, and then we open it and it becomes an ice rink.
I don't think you want to put ice over a pickleball court, though.
Phase
I'm
3.
kind of biased, though.
That's why we need the rec centers to put pickleball for the winter
Yeah.
and
Just-
do like co-ed stuff and, yeah.
Well, how about
No,
I look into the cost and the operational cost of that, and I can kind of get you a better idea on
That'd be
what that
great.
will be.
Yeah, Andy, I think in the grand scheme of things, just leave it in for now.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
And then on the sports complex, you talk about those fields. Are you looking at grass versus turf, or
Yes.
most of the new, like, multi-purpose fields seem to be going towards turf instead of grass?
You like this one?
On their concept, they have seeding, so it'd be natural turf. But I know we had discussed having artificial turf that might allow for more activity during, different type of weather events, and there's still going to be maintenance with artificial turf, as you know, Joe, from Lake Central, but that might make it a little more adaptable for soccer, lacrosse, some different sports. That's what I thought we were kind of going in that direction before than having natural turf. And if we have the natural turf, then we definitely need the underground drainage and, yeah.
Bishop
Artificial
Knoll,
would be more, but it might be better in the long run to have that.
yeah, Bishop Knoll just, they've got a new football facility, and they used turf on their field. Maybe see what that cost them.
A lot.
Yeah, it's
I'm
expensive.
sure. It's the same turf as Notre Dame Stadium.
Isn't it about $2 million a field to turf it?
I don't know Andy, would you know the turf costs? I have no idea what it costs.
I mean, I don't know what the cost is, but, I mean, all of the high school sport areas are putting in turf versus grass. So I assume they all looked at the cost and decide what was the best. I would think it's a little more expensive up front, but long-term, I don't know. But, I mean, everyone's going to the turf,
Yeah.
Colonel Wheeler football stadium for middle school, they were grass. When they built the new school at Taft, they got a football field, and Colonel Wheeler went to a turf football field for middle school. So turf seems to be where everyone.
Well, again, we can look at that, see what the cost is on that. I don't know if it might be 5 times, 10 times, I honestly don't know. But that's something to look into. That may be one way to save costs, or maybe cheaper to do it up front.
And I believe they did turf at the Dean and Barbara White Center, so they've done it before.
No, I think it goes back to what's our goal for the field. If our goal is, we're going to have to secure it, then you can't leave turf just open. I don't know that any of those places are just open to the public, right? I mean, they're all closed off.
Yeah. Highland High School is fenced off.
So if our goal is to have open green space that's usable by all the residents, come play soccer, to be able to play a game of football, to come play, lacrosse, whatever, that's not our turf field. If our intent is to try and get tournaments or to charge more for use of those fields, revenue generation, that type of thing, then okay, we can go that route, but I just, what's our intent with these fields?
Maybe
And
we,
then you get back to, you know, like with Rorman, with the, there's a cost to use that field versus, you know, it's open to the public. Because when you have that type of a turf complex, it's going to have to be fenced in, gated, and it's going to have to be programmed. So that is the flip side of it, versus having something that's just open for recreational, passive type of come play, frisbee, football, whatever you want to do. Those are usually more, you know, natural turf type of fields, like what we have at Rorman now. But we do have issues with, you know, we can't control who's using those fields all the time and how they're being used.
I mean, if we're gonna end up with 30 acres of grass, I don't know that we have to build grass fields. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much grass fields we need for multi-use purposes, as long as our grassy areas aren't swamps 90% of the time. But if we're looking to create a you know, a rentable space, another revenue generator, a tournament type location, then I guess we just got to go that route and explore the costs and the maintenance costs and the operational costs and the fencing. There's going to be more security. There's probably, you're going to have bathrooms near them because they're rentable space. You're going to have concessions near them.
Yep.
So you're adding $1 million building to go along with the $2 million two fields that we're talking about building. I mean, it's a different scope of things, that's for sure.
My thought would be like, this is not a high school. Like, we're not a high school. That's not what we're trying to do here. So to me, the turf would be an unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't
rather
think
put that
we
money
were
towards the
looking
rec center or something else,
to make
you know?
this a tournament location, you know? If we're trying to put in 16 fields and have the big Grand Park or whatever it is down in Carmel or whatever, that's a massive, awesome venue. But that's not what I thought we were trying to do here.
I agree.
And we also have existing fields at Rorman Park that are adjacent to Ileana property that could be, you know, redeveloped. We have large swales for the drainage. If there was underground drainage there, it would allow for more flexibility in that space as far as the field layouts. And that's a pretty big area there, so, and that's, you know, natural turf. So with a little bit of improvements to that, that could be a kind of take the place of some of this area without utilizing the actual Ileana property. And that would maybe free up some space in Ileana for some other type of amenity. So just something to consider.
John, are you talking about the softball fields?
The existing soccer fields
soccer
right now at Rorman. You know, the north half of Rorman Park is pretty much soccer fields, and the way that was designed years ago, there were just pretty much the drainages between the swales there, between the fields, it's all sheet drainage. And the way those swales are and the way those fields are crowned, it really limits your layout of your fields because you've got too much of a slope or you can't go where the swales are at. So if that whole area was redone with underground drainage and leveled and maybe reseeded, you know, if you had some type of sprinkling system in there, then it would be a lot more usable and you could get a lot more use out of that space from the parking lot at Rorman to Ileana. Is that area I'm referring to there, Tom? See it there. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, this area here is what he's talking about right here,
No.
just east of the maintenance building. Okay, anybody have anything else? I think I have a pretty good list here. There's some modifications. I think there'll be some cost savings.
Can we look to, I guess, just from a cost standpoint, can we look at, we've got almost $10 million in concrete and asphalt. I mean, is there a way we can shrink our footprint so that we're only paving X amount as opposed to Y amount of footage and square footage of things? I mean, they used all 63 acres. Maybe the reality is all of the things we needed to put in this park fit in 25. And maybe we shrink it and only use the center 25 where the road's gonna go through, and everything extra is there for phase 6 and 7 and 8 down the road if we ever get to that point. But right now, we're talking about, you know, a smaller footprint type of stuff, so maybe we shrink our used space so that we're paving less, curbing less, sidewalking less, and just trying to cut that in half or whatever.
The one thing I would say to that is, like, one of the things that we did say to them was that the plan was one day to move the fest here. And so I do think that's part of why, like, if we're having the fest there, we need every inch of that pavement for parking and for the fest. I think that was, just because I know it's been a while, but I think that was the reason why they gave us the footprint they gave us.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. If we can shrink that down, still have the fest, and cut costs that way, then yeah, I'm all for that.
Well, and you look at phasing this, you're not going to build all of these things at the same time.
Exactly.
So, you know, say it's $9 million for asphalt and concrete. Well, say you're going to do a third of it at a time. Well, it'll only be probably $5 million because you're going to have a larger upfront cost because you have to do the intersection improvement and the road in there.
Yep.
But you don't build all the parking right off the bat. So, you know, that can be incremental.
Yeah.
And event parking space can be not asphalt.
Yeah, it can be
too.
on grass.
It
Yeah,
can be
you're right.
gravel
That's a good
or
point.
well-drained grass.
It's a good
I
point.
mean, if we have well-drained grass, all year, you're gonna be good. Or if you put in slag or asphalt or whatever, grindings or whatever you got, we can maybe we can get away a lot cheaper. Just for the overflow. I mean, obviously not the stuff right next to all of our amenities, but if we're trying to find a 5-acre parcel all the way on the west side or something that's our overflow parking for the big fest, well then, maybe we can do it in a different way.
That's a good point.
Yeah, John and I had looked at a different way of doing some, what was that called, John? You remember? It was like a permeable soil, and it's solid, so it still grows like grass, but you can drive on it. It's like a geogrid.
Yeah, it's like a geogrid that you would put in, and you could grow grass through it, but you could also have, you know, vehicle traffic on it. We were looking at that. But I agree, you know, when you look at the amount of parking needed for a few events, you know, then that could maybe be handled with overflow parking if you have the right type of drainage. Because really, when you look at Ileana, the way it's been used for parking, and Andy Pye's the expert on that because he's laid it out. When it's dry, we could get 2,000 cars out there for fireworks. When it's wet, you know, maybe you get 500, you know, to 1,000. There's certain areas you can't park. So if you had overflow parking designed, but not necessarily paved, then I think that would be good for a couple events. But then later on, if you need to develop it, then you address it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of the costs for the site improvements and the demo, that's going to be what it is. I mean, you can't really change that very much. So basically, the amenities is like the main focus on where you can save money. And obviously, we'll look at different ways such as that to save money on other items within the infrastructure and things like that. And again, I think they probably inflated some of these numbers because obviously they want to give you a general idea, and it depends on when you do it. If you wait 10 years, well, it's going to cost more. That's just the way things are.
Yep. I just think that if we only need 20 acres worth of property in the middle to do all the things we want to do, That's all we should use, and the rest of it can stay green space. Build our multi-use trail, the bike and running path through it, and leave it alone.
And you could
We
do
don't
that. You
have
could
to use every
consolidate.
foot.
You could consolidate the majority of the, I'll call it the big ticket items, the amenities, into a smaller area and build trails around it, and that would just be green space throughout then.
Right, we've been using Reeder Park, and what's that, a couple acres?
Yeah, I think it's 8.
How many?
8.
8 acres. So, I mean, if we even just go to 25 of the 63, you're still more than tripling your space.
Right. So some other things that, just everybody talking, I said we need to kind of have a phasing plan, as well as look at overflow parking ideas and a possibility of shrinking usable space, I'll say merging amenities into smaller area. Anything else?
We covered a lot tonight.
Yeah, we did.
What did you say our bond capacity is?
30.
30 million, Jim?
In the park, 15.
So again, we're hoping we get some donations as well as this will be phased, so that'd be the only way we could do this, just like every other project.
Yep.
Especially to this scale.
Any more questions from the park board,
No, sir.
council members?
No,
I just have one more statement, I guess. This additional project costs being so much more than even the building costs is crazy to me. It's $28 million, just additional stuff. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a way to either cut it down or eliminate it somehow, I don't know.
Well,
We're gonna look at the next set of numbers that
Those-
come out.
Those prices might be over-exaggerated too.
well, they definitely are, and you got the design and engineering, that's 15%. That's gonna be normal, 15%. So you're already of the 28, 7 of that is engineering.
I think you're gonna see a big change in the numbers by the way we're gonna do business, putting things together, so.
Yeah, I think I got a good idea on what you guys are looking for now. This was helpful, so we can kind of cater that, and I think that should be a pretty substantial cost savings.
Can't we negotiate with the engineer and say, hey, we don't want to pay 15%. You want this job? We'll give it to you for 6, I mean,
They're not hurting for business, my friend.
well, I understand that, but somebody's going to want this job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually 15%, I think, is the high end. Usually it's 8 to 15%, and, some of that's engineering, some of it's actual architectural design, and that really depends on the overall scope of the project and the overall cost. So the more you have into it, the more you might be able to negotiate that percentage down, Caleb, than, if it was a smaller project of, say, a couple $1 million.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree, there's got to be, some savings there.
And I think if you simplify it more, it's going to be simpler for the engineers, so again, it will cost less.
Yeah.
I also think if we keep using that word flex event space, that it lets people know that we are really trying to fit a lot into what we're doing, and we're fitting a lot of things in for them too. I think it's the way we express it. It's important.
So the next, when we get these numbers and that, then we will coordinate another date and time for the park board to meet with us again so we can go over it and discuss it further. Is that good with you guys?
yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everybody's here. Do we want to coordinate the date now?
Well, let's see how long it's going to take for the guys to get those numbers together.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, when they know.
I just know how fun the emails back and forth were
Yeah, I know.
trying to do these dates.
You didn't even see them all.
I'm sure.
Okay, any others? Any other questions or anything before we close the meeting? Okay, well, I thank everybody for coming out tonight, and we'll see you at the next meeting, okay? This meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.
Thank you.
everyone.